What's up, my people, and welcome to the J&K Show. I'm your man, J. Rob, and I got my brother right there, K. What's up, brother?
Yo. What's good, my man?
I'm good. I'm happy. I'm joyous. I'm ready to get into some hot stories of the past week because we got some good ones, right?
Yeah.
You've been following them, right?
Yeah, man. The streets are talking, too.
The streets are talking. All right, so let's talk about what the streets are talking about.
All
All right, we're going to get... Well, the first story is a little bit sad, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, man. Mariah Carey, you know, the great singer, accomplished singer, one of the best of all time. It's so crazy because she had a tragedy in her family, and you know, when we lose one of our family members, it's a bad day. It's a sad day. I've been through it. You know, you've been through all of us have, right?
Yep.
But it came out this past week that she actually lost her mother and her sister. Both of them passed away on the same day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like it's just hard to believe, right? So, and it's not even like sometimes you hear but people die the same day and they're living in the same house or whatever like that. They were completely living separate. No one knew something. You know, sometimes when a husband passes away and then the mother, the wife finds out and then she just goes because, you know, emotionally that she kind of loses it and they die. No, it wasn't like that. She just, you know, her mother and her sister passed away in the same day. Now, as we all know, Mariah has had a lot of, you know, they weren't the best of the best family, let's say, right? You know, her sister was on drugs, obviously. And she actually didn't speak to her sister for like 2 decades, right? Also, I think her sister tried to, you know, she was into drugs and she wanted the money a lot from Mariah. And there was a whole rift in between, you know, giving her money and, you know, contributing to the habit and things like that.
Right.
So unfortunately, there was a big distance between her and her sister for many years. Also with her brother as well and her mom. They didn't have the best relationship. So it's a really sad thing, but when it comes down to it, still it's family, right? Now, fortunately, with her mom, she was able to spend like the last week with her mom, the last week of her mom's life. They was able to spend time together because she didn't have the best health, so she did know about that. So she was able to spend time with her. But with her sister, it was a crazy thing that, you know, there was reports that actually, she wrote it in Mariah's book that her sister tried to pimp her out when she was young. Yeah, you know, so there was a lot of bad blood between her sister and her brother and even with her mother. But at the end of the day, it's family, and losing both, you know, family members on the same day, even with that, is really sad. So I guess my question to you is, like, you know, especially when your family member is going through issues, especially with using drugs and things like that, like how difficult do you think it is to give your family member money, especially if your family members are, you know, they don't have a lot of money, they need to live, they need to eat, but you know this family member has a drug issue, right? And, you know, you don't want to support it, but how do you go about that with your family members wanting money from you, especially with Mariah Carey, as famous as she is, and they all know that she has money? How do you support family members when you know they are going through issues with drug use and things like that? Like, how do you think you go about something like that?
Well, specifically to this, I would say you don't give them money, right? Like you can maybe help provide them with the things that they need. Yeah. Right. So if their refrigerator is empty, you buy food, right? That would be the best thing, right, to do. In this case, it's got to be tough because you know, Mariah, you know, has resources. She's got all the money in the world. Even before she divorced
Nick.
No, before
Tommy Mottola.
Tommy, before she divorced Tommy. Yeah. So that living with Tommy changed her circumstances, right? So even if she didn't necessarily have her own money yet, right? She probably had access to money. So she's probably been okay for a really long time. And I can only imagine how difficult that is when a family member, loved one, is struggling with addiction, and you're in the position to, I wouldn't say help, but help ease their pain, right, by giving them money, but you don't want to enable them as well, right? But conversely, the other side of it, picturing or imagining your loved one inside out, destitute, you know, when they're trying to cop, when they're chasing, things of that nature. And you know, hey, I can turn around and give this person a little bit of money, and at least the pain stops for a little while. Maybe that thing that they're doing in order to get some money, they stop that for a moment. Right. So it kind of takes them out of harm's way a little bit. It's a tough decision to make. But you know, you're still enabling them. Despite all of that, I have to believe that it was still incredibly difficult for her to deal with the pain of losing her sister and her mom on the same day. Right. I don't even know what words can possibly one could use to describe that. Right. Like it's beyond description. What that is, what that feels like. How do you process that? Or I don't know if she's a religious person and if she believes that there's something divine about that. That's mind blowing.
It's really mind blowing, and especially I was happy that she was able to at least reconnect with her mom, right? You know, because they had a lot of their issues as well. And listen, your mom is your mom. You have one mother. We all are upset with our mothers from time to time, and they get on our nerves. That happens in every mother-child relationship. But the fact that she was able to at least spend like the last week of her life with her mother, which she wasn't able to do with her sister, obviously, that had to be special for Mariah, and to make her feel better that she's at least reconnecting. So like, how difficult do you think that is for when you have all these issues with your mom to actually reconnect and put the has-beens behind you and all the issues that you've been through? How easy do you think it was for her to reconnect with her mom and at least get that bond back a little bit to the point where she's able to spend the last few days with her life?
I suspect I suspect that there's mixed feelings on that, right? I don't think there's a good feeling. I don't necessarily think there's a bad feeling to it. I think there's definitely some indifference there. You tend to believe that the reason why they were apart is for a real reason. Why the relationship was strained. And so those emotions and feelings and whatever it is that you're going through with a family member, that shit is real, right? You really feel that. And just because you reconnect, those issues which cause you to separate are probably still there. And you're trying to coexist with them. So yeah, we connected, but there's still no closure, right? The person, in this case her mom, passes on. You can take some solace in the fact that, hey, we had an opportunity to reconnect over the last couple of weeks. At the same time, it also could bring back all of these other challenges and problems and things that kind of stir inside of you, for better or for worse. I can only imagine. There's probably a menagerie of emotions that she's going through, and that's a tough one, man.
Yeah, and you get in the situation, especially when these celebrities are famous like they are and extremely rich. I've got to imagine that there is so much pressure on someone like Mariah, where your family is looking at you to help them, right? Because you have the means to do it. And you know that they're going through their drug issues and the issues that their mom went through in their family. Everyone is looking at you to be their savior, right? So can you imagine the amount of pressure that Mariah had to save her family, in the meantime, knowing that she's going to help support potentially a drug habit of her sister's? Like, how do you, like, it's just like, how do you work your way around that without looking like the bad guy? Like, because everyone knows that Mariah can help us out, but she's not doing it. And the public is looking like, well, maybe it's like, why is Mariah not maybe helping her family? I mean, it is her family, it's her mom, it's her sister, but you know, a lot of people, the public, they don't know the ins and outs of what's going on in family. So she's probably, I wonder, do you think that she felt any kind of pressure from the public to help her family out?
I would say probably not. Any pressure or anything that she felt or didn't feel would come from herself. Like, that's not her obligation, Right.
Even as a family member, as a sister, as a daughter.
That's not your.
Well, yeah, not an obligation. No.
Yeah. So. Okay. So if I'm Mariah, if I do something that's out of the goodness of my heart, I don't owe you anything. That's not for. Nope. That ain't me. Don't put that on me. Right. We're all we chose our lives. Right. Free will. Right. You selected the path that you want to go on and live. And so if my path garners different results, in this case, we're talking financially. Right. Can't all of a sudden now turn to me and say, well, you did better at it, so therefore you owe me, or I expect, or nope. I disagree with that. Out of hand, immediately out of hand. 100%.
And even if you have all the money, I mean, it's maybe sometimes it's not just like maybe like forking money over, but maybe seeking out and maybe getting help for your sister, like maybe like kind of like a therapy, or just trying to get them more involved, where instead of just like handing over money. I mean, do you think that, I mean, I think all of us at some point think, well, maybe we could have done more, right? Maybe we could have done more to help our family out. At the end of the day, they're still our family. And I know you're going to have issues, you're going to be fighting with it, but you could probably always in the back, you say, damn, that is my person. Maybe I could have done more. Maybe not just handed money over, but maybe reached out and given more therapy.
I don't know. I think that's in the eyes of the beholder, right?
Right.
Like because for every time someone says, well, you should have did more, that same person can say, well, when is enough? When is enough, right? Right. Does this person just go on indefinitely? Right. This person also has a life of their own. They have a family of their own. They've got children of their own, right? Any number of other responsibilities that we don't know, right? You're talking about people who also have their own lives. Right. And that's why I go back to saying where we choose our path, right? And to me, if someone steps in and helps you, whether it's family, friends, whomever, that's a nice to have.
It's a gift, right?
That's a gift. That's a nice to have. There should be no expectation that you should do for me because we just happen to be born of the same bloodline.
It shouldn't be, but we all know that. That's
and I know that's not a popular way of approaching this, right? And I'm ready for the hate mail that I received, but that's life. Yeah. Right, you have to live in accordance to you. Right. And if someone chooses to do something, even if it's a family member, they are not obligated to do anything. As such, you cannot then be angry at someone if they choose not to. In this case, someone was living and conducting destructive behavior, whether they mean to do it or not. That's another debate for another show. Right. The point is this is you, this is me. I will decide on whether or not I want to do that. I'll try to help. And it sounds like where they had this connection for over 2 decades. 2 decades. Yeah, maybe that was a part of it.
Can you see that? I mean, 2 decades, doesn't that seem like a very long time not to talk to a sibling or a family member? I mean, I've gone damn near a month or so not talking to my own mom sometimes just because you get so angry. But when you think about that time frame of 2 decades of not speaking to a sibling or something, that's pretty deep.
Well, so until we know what the circumstances, right? We don't know.
Sorry for us to say.
It's difficult for us to say. Yeah. Who knows? You mentioned in a book where someone tried to pimp her out.
Yeah.
What else is attached to that story? Right. Like think about that and how that could affect you, or how that would make you look at someone. Now, someone can counter argue, say, well, this person was sick because they were an addict and she knows what she was doing. Yeah. Oh well, right? Like I get that, but there are people who lose privileges in life because they did things while they were on drugs. Right. That's not a reason to just flat out give someone a pass.
Correct.
Even if you weren't totally, let's say, in control, you're still responsible. There's still negligence on your part, and you have to answer for that. So to answer your question, does it sound plausible? Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Depending, if it rose to whatever it took place, maybe it was one single major incident. Maybe it was a death by 1,000 cuts.
Right.
And just this steady erosion over multiple years to where it finally gets to this crescendo, and it's like, okay, enough.
Enough is enough, right?
I'm done.
Right.
I can love you from a distance. I love you, but I can't have you in my life. I can't have you around my husband. I can't have you, around my children. It's so much there, man.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I can't knock her.
Well, I am. Our prayers definitely go out to Mariah and her family, and it was nice that she did at least get to spend, the last week with her mom. And definitely, it's just a tragic thing when it comes when you lose both your mom and your sister on the same day. She's actually asked for her privacy at this time, as we, all of us is obviously going to give that to her. And we wish her the best, and our prayers go out to you, Mariah, and your whole entire family at this time. And we wish you the best, right? We keep our prayers up for you. So there we go. So.